Today's video is brought to you by Gulag, the new album from streammusic.gg, available to stream on Apple Music, Spotify, and all other service providers. If you're a content creator who wants to step up your streams and add some great music for the background without the risk of copyright and without having to pay any money whatsoever, then check out the links in the description down below. If you're a fan of AEW and you're excited for AEW's upcoming console game, then this video is specifically for you. We're going to show you screenshots, we're going to break everything down, but I want to kick things off with some big news regarding the cover. That's because CM Punk has actually been removed from the AEW video game cover. Now, you might watch this channel because I talk about wrestling news, but for those who know me and my 10 plus years on YouTube as a content creator, I actually got my foot in the door by doing wrestling video games and videos in regards to the video game. So I have definitely been a lot more experienced in this regard, and quite honestly, I think this is a great cover. Now, there's a couple things I am shocked to see. For one, I think one thing that needs to be considered is how many people who don't watch wrestling are going to buy this game, because I know a lot of people personally who don't watch wrestling, but they buy the WWE video games simply because they like WWE. I'm very curious to see how this cover can attract those casual gamers who may not be familiar with the AEW product. Now, the reason why I say this is because there are 10 people on the cover, and the most notable names are kind of tucked in the back. They're not front and center. Nonetheless, I do think it would have been an interesting choice if perhaps they put Chris Jericho or Sting or Bryan Danielson or Jon Moxley front and center, but nonetheless, they made the decision not to do that with this cover. Do I think it's a big deal? No. Truth be told, I think people who are interested in buying the AEW video game are going to buy the AEW video game, and at the end of the day, that's probably the most important thing. Now, with that being said, CM Punk was removed from the cover, which pretty much furthers the conversation as to whether or not CM Punk has actually been bought out from his contract with AEW. There has technically been no official word from AEW officials themselves, but of course, CM Punk is doing commentary for Cage Fury, and well, when he's doing commentary, he's definitely making a light out of the whole backstage drama in AEW, so it is very interesting to see how AEW goes about this, but compared to the old cover, I actually think this is a lot more attractable. I think this is a lot more, just in general, it's a lot more polished. And you know, the cool thing is, with AEW, they put two women on the cover, Jade Cargill, Britt Baker, obviously two of the stars for their women's division. And I think everybody else pretty much fits in there pretty well. So I just think this looks good, despite the fact that there's 10 people on the cover, but nonetheless, the cover does look good. Now, I want to start taking a look at some screenshots because I actually think the game looks good, and my opinion has kind of changed throughout time, but my excitement level is still there. So this is a screenshot of Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, and of course, AEW Fight Forever has the replay system in the game. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting here, and of course, a lot of people might try to dissect a lot when it comes to the renders of the characters, but I want to be very clear. When you look at these renders and when you look at these images, there's two things you got to keep into account. One, you cannot compare this to WWE 2K. And the reason for that is because WWE 2K is a very different take on a wrestling video game. AEW and Fight Forever is trying to modernize the old school way of wrestling video games. So therefore, the renders being compared to WWE 2K doesn't necessarily make the most sense. The second thing, though, I really actually like about the screenshots and the footage that we've seen so far is that the lighting looks really good. It definitely has a different presentation compared to WWE 2K, and I think that is one thing that's going to make them feel like a differentiator, because here's the realistic truth, okay? If you're playing an NBA video game, comparatively, the best example here would be NBA Live versus NBA 2K. At the end of the day, they can have different mechanics, they can have different things, and people will always have their preference as to which one is better, but ultimately, they are both basketball video games. You're going to dribble the ball, you're going to shoot the ball, you're going to dunk the ball. If you keep playing basketball video games over and over and over again, regardless of the game that you're actually playing basketball becomes repetitive. So at the end of the day, that's kind of the same issue with wrestling now that there's a second wrestling video game to compete with WWE. I think the game looks good. I think it looks different. It definitely differentiates itself from WWE in terms of the overall presentation. Yes, the characters are less beefy, but also at the same time too, I don't really think of that as a problem. The second screenshot I want to take a look at is this one with Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson's hair pretty much looks accurate. I think Bryan Danielson himself looks pretty damn solid in this screenshot. I do like the idea that the video game does model itself after the actual television show of Dynamite, because of the nameplates, the lower thirds. They have like the subtext, which is the inaugural member of the Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know if AEW is going to add any sort of features within the creative department here, but if you can actually edit the text for the nameplates, I think that would be a really cool option. It's not a big change or like a big feature, but it would be really cool if you could customize the nameplates in this situation, because maybe you want to update Bryan Danielson, and or maybe when you're creating your own player, you want to have something really cool for your lower third graphic. Now, one thing I also want to keep in mind too, and I don't know if this has changed, but it was believed in the beginning stages of the game that the singles record that you see on these wrestlers are actually going to be accurate based on the game itself. So if you're playing AEW Fight Forever and you've won 20 matches with Bryan Danielson and you lost 50 matches with Bryan Danielson, it's actually supposed to update on the lower third. So hopefully that feature is still within the game. Nonetheless, I think that's a great screenshot, and this is actually my favorite screenshot right here. This is the lights out match with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and then of course you have Aubrey Edwards in the game. So in this screenshot, again, the presentation, everything looks different. I think the graphics look really good. Honestly, I think it's crystal clear. Again, it's not on the same level as WWE, but the good news is it doesn't have to be on the same level as WWE. But look at all the blood on the ring mat. Look at the thumbtacks. Look at the baseball bat. Look at the trash can. And when this new trailer dropped, one of the cool things that appealed to me was the fact that AEW is really trying to make a focus out of this game being fun. So you see a lot of elements in terms of the weaponry, the match types, the movement, the camera angles and stuff like that. It is definitely a more archaic approach to the game, and I think that's a really good thing. Now, me personally, as somebody who makes content on YouTube, and I got my start on YouTube by doing gaming videos, I don't know exactly what my plans are for the video game, but I'll definitely be playing, and I hope to be live streaming with you guys and playing with you guys. Hopefully multiplayer servers are good, because I think that could make it way more fun. But with these match types and stuff like that, I'm not having a big expectation that this game is going to be absolutely incredible. But I feel because of that archaic approach, and if online multiplayer is really good, then I could just see this being a fun game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Obviously, AEW's new video game is coming soon. CM Punk's off the cover. They've definitely made some changes, but compared to what we first saw when they revealed that they were doing a video game, I think this looks really damn cool. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you next time.